media project.
Hello, I'm John Blaufer, president and founder of Flatus Natural Gas. Does your job stink? Looking for a lift in your career? Why not consider working for Flatus Natural Gas? You'll feel relieved doing something you love. Most of our employees have a blast. It doesn't feel like work when you enjoy your job. And I'm not just talking out of my ass when I say Flatus pays great. So don't let an opportunity like this squirt by. Come and join the team at Flatus. You'll be blown away.
Flatus Natural Gas. See what the big stink is all about. Find us on Craigslist.
Excuse me, do you mind if I join you? Are you sure you don't mind? You're absolutely sure I'm understanding you?
I want a man that makes my blood run cold. A man that every time he enters my crypt, it's like a stake through my dead black heart.
I can whip the upper humpy down in the land.
Hello and welcome to the Mental Suppository. I'm Brett Herholtz.
And I'm Andrew Shanley.
And it looks as though they've released the trailer for the new Munsters movie.
Unfortunately.
Being produced, is it directed and produced, or just produced or directed by
Unfortunately,
Rob Zombie?
It's written and directed by Rob Zombie.
And after this podcast, I hope Rob Zombie doesn't try to come and find us and kill us. But we have feelings about this, deep, deep feelings. And we're going to get into it right after a word from our sponsor.
Unfortunately. Tune in for this week's episode of Outdoors is the Shit.
Welcome to another episode of Outdoors is the Shit. I'm Zeke. My brothers Deke and Reed Deke won't be joining us after they's run themselves over with their own dune buggy trying to jump a Winnebago. With grilling season, this week, I thought I'd show you how to grill on your engine block. First thing, make sure your truck starts. We're in luck. To make sure your engine's hot enough, add a bucket of butane directly to the engine. This is where I'd be giving you cooking tips, but I seem to caught fire and need to roll around on the ground to put myself out. And I can't call an ambulance because I ain't no socialist. And I left my phone in the truck.
Don't miss the next episode of Outdoors is the Shit. If anything else, it'll make you feel better about your life choices.
Speaking of life choices,
yes,
the new Munsters film, which I'm going to say right off the bat, and I'm just going to put it right out there right now. Whose idea was it to make Herman Munster sound like Joe Besser?
You know, I don't know, but I have given a name to my pain, and it is Rob Zombie.
Which is funny because I know a lot of people that are fans of Rob Zombie's films, and then there are people who are just can't get into his films. And one thing I always kind of liked about Rob Zombie was I of course like White Zombie, but also he used to host a show on Turner Classic Movies where they would play grindhouse films, and I always liked his enthusiasm for old films.
Yeah.
But
yes, being the big caveat, and just saying, like, obviously he's a great musical artist.
Yes, he is.
I think obviously his music from White Zombie to when he decided to be a solo artist is really good.
Oh, it's fantastic.
He likes he's a fan of the Munsters. I'm not going to say that he isn't. You know,
that sometimes can be kind of your downfall when you're so impassioned about a project. You can sometimes just get so blinded by your what you think might be a good idea.
I mean, this is a feature. I mean, the Munsters has come back a few times.
Munsters Go Home.
Munsters Go Home. There was a sitcom that they did in like the 90s.
The New Munsters?
The New Munsters, I think.
And they tried once again recently. They tried to do a remake on television, which they had the Munsters, but they weren't made up in monster makeup, which I feel like defeats the purpose.
I think it does too. I think that
What's the only good part about it? I think they had Eddie Izzard in that as Grandpa. So when I like anything about Eddie Izzard, but it was still a really weird production choice to go in that route.
I mean, first of all, I mean, you're talking about the Munsters, and really tell you the truth, the original product, it was only around for 2 seasons, but they have a lot of episodes. But the thing about that is that the quality of what they did for it was just so perfect. It was
a product of its time too,
It was a product of its time. It was a home run when they made it, and it's just like it's such a hard act to follow.
And it wasn't one of these things like the Addams Family where they had like a movie in the 90s that really took off where people kind of remember that movie. I mean, I don't know how many younger generation, people under the age of 40 really remember the Munsters.
Well, the other thing too about the movie with Addams Family, if I can just talk about that just really quickly, is that they had a sensational cast.
They had an amazing cast,
and it was very well made. I mean, they had enough characters.
Although I don't think it was well received at the time. That's the funny thing. It was one of those movies I liked at the time, but
I liked it too.
I don't remember it being very well received. Like people seemed disappointed. It was one of those films that seemed to gain traction over time where people were like, oh, it's not as bad as we remember it being, and it wasn't.
I mean, it generated a sequel.
Oh, absolutely.
Also, Munsters, Addams Family Values, which is just as good, if not better, than the original.
Oh, hell yeah.
And if it had not been for Raul Julia dying, I'm sure that they would have made a third movie.
And we wouldn't have had the Addams Family reunion, despite the fact, Tim Curry is a great actor. This is what you get when you do a production from the people who gave you Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Well, the thing about it is that, like I said, the Addams Family had a great director. They had a great cast. I mean, you had Raul Julia, Angelica Houston. You had
a very young Christina Ricci.
Christina Ricci was in this. I mean, Christopher Lloyd, for crying out loud.
Great Scott.
I mean, seriously, how could you couldn't get a better cast than that.
Oh,
even
absolutely.
The second movie, just as good. I mean, the whole thing with Christina Ricci at like the summer camp. I mean, that's exactly. That's just comedy gold.
Oh, absolutely. And she was at such a young age, she was phenomenal.
That's what they needed to do with this movie. That's what they needed to do. And
I get these. It does get the feeling of vanity project. Am I right?
Yeah. I mean, this thing. Okay. Like I've watched the trailer. Unfortunately,
I felt like I was watching a pilot for a television series, not a major motion picture.
You just felt like a sizzler reel.
Yeah.
Like this is what it would look like if we do this on TV, like on like everything else. It felt like Nickelodeon.
Yes. Yeah.
It felt
very made for TV.
And for Rob Zombie, which is like, I mean, he's not known for comedy.
No, he's not.
And, I mean, the original Munsters, you had a fantastic cast. Yeah. Fred Gwynne, Al Lewis, those two were just like a comedy duo. They
were just basically a carryover from Car 54, Where Are You, with their banter.
They were so on all the jokes. They were so perfect on everything. It worked out well.
And Fred Gwynne's voice as, Herman Munster was just absolutely perfect. Darn. That's
my God, he was so perfect. And and of course Yvonne DiCarlo.
Oh yeah,
as Lily. I mean, she's played it straight. It was just like, and she played the typical like 1950s 60s housewife.
Exactly.
It was just perfect. I mean, the problem that that Sherry Moon Zombie has, unlike with Tim Burton, Helen Bonham Carter, is that Helen Bonham Carter has talent.
Yes, she's an actress. She was an actress before she met Tim Burton, and she's an actress after they split.
Name a movie that Sherry Moon Zombie is in besides one that's directed by her husband.
This has a very Sophie Ford Coppola feel to it, where it's like getting somebody because they're married to you or related to you. Very what's her 90210 Aaron Spelling getting his daughter in the production because
it's just so bad.
It does have that feeling to it. Although they do have one actor I really like in the film. They're Sylvester McCoy, who was Doctor Number Seven's been cast as Igor in the film.
The other thing too is that Cassandra Peterson's also in this movie too.
Oh, she is?
Yeah, she's as a character Barbara Carr.
Okay.
Daniel Roebuck, I believe, is playing the Count.
Oh, Grandpa?
Yeah, Grandpa. Why do they call him the Count?
I don't know. I just feel like, why is this Sesame Street?
I think they changed. He demanded that. Just don't call me Grandpa. I don't want to be called the Count, so nobody can say it's my fault.
Oh, okay.
And the other thing too is like, okay, so technically speaking, watching the trailer and people are like, why is it bad? Well, first of all,
as a filmmaker, why don't you break it down?
Okay, I mean, first of all, like watching from Rob Zombie, the creator of House of Thousand Corpses, Halloween, and The Devil's Rejects. One of those
comes a comedy.
Ha!
Whoop, beep, whoop, beep.
And like two of those movies are. One of those movies is okay. Two of those movies are like, not really.
Like I said, there are people that love his movies, and then there are people that are like, I just can't get into his, are just like, I can't get into his stuff. So
yeah, so like, apparently Pat Priest is in this too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know. She doesn't have a name. It doesn't have a character name here.
Right.
Probably just a cameo.
Yeah.
But like, I'm watching this trailer and like first of all, it starts out going like, the audio just seems weird.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. Like the way like the audio starts out with there's a guy who's like, I don't know about that. It just feels so weird, and the rest of the audio in this trailer sounds very strange.
Well, even the picture quality of the trailer, like I said, seems like the same sort of video they use for Three's Company rather than a feature film.
It feels like something that they tried to do in the 90s.
Yeah.
Especially with the colors. Like I love some of the color design. I love the color design, but the audio and the music is what's throwing me off, because the music feels like something you downloaded off of one of those like clear, like generic, like, hey, we need a spooky like organ theme. Okay, let's go here. Like, it doesn't feel cinematic.
The guy's a musician. He could, he could get people that can do this sort of stuff.
A musician, yes. A film composer.
That's true.
No.
Not everybody has the makings of Danny Elfman, who can go from being an Oingo Boingo to creating film scores.
I mean, even the Munsters theme alone, the Munsters theme is probably one of the most iconic, recognizable themes.
Gosh, yeah.
I love playing that song on my guitar. It's a very fun song. But, it's just like, like it just feels like so dead. Like, and like, there's that one shot where like, Grandpa or the Count. I'll whip you up a hubby honey in the lab. And like, he tries to do Grandpa, and it sounded good, but it felt like they didn't even give him a microphone. Like, he's yelling at the microphone like, all right, I'll whip you up a hubby honey, blah, blah, blah. It just sounds so bad.
You kind of you hope that the actual film won't be like this, and this is just like you said, a sizzle reel. But I got a bad feeling about this.
Okay.
And then there's the actor playing Herman Munster and the voice they've chosen for him. It's like I said earlier, why does Herman sound like Joe Besser? Why do I feel like he's going to give me such a pinch?
Jeff Diamond Phillips.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see. What else has he done? An American Pickle.
The hell is that?
I don't know. He was in Westworld and Gifted.
Okay.
That's not saying much.
No,
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
But again,
he
I
worked
just
on another project of Rob Zombie's. Well, everyone's fucking in a UFO. It's a video short.
Oh, okay. That's.
He was in the Lords of Salem, apparently.
Okay.
So.
But, I mean, it's like he definitely has the look of it, but then when he speaks, it's like, why that voice choice? Why? What are they going for?
I don't know. It's like he's trying to be Herman. Yeah,
but Fred Gwynne had a certain sound to his voice. It wasn't high and whiny. It was he had kind of this, this low quality that just, this kind of a goofball voice that was, but then it's like they're trying to go for another type of goofball sound, and it just doesn't work with the character.
And that laugh Oh my God, I felt like Grandpa who was doing that. It was just like, oh my God, seriously. But like, I think one of the crown achievements of just how bad this whole trailer feels is just like the whole thing with Sherry Moon Zombie. I mean, I have nothing personal against her.
No, absolutely not.
I mean, obviously, but like she is just not a good actress.
She can't. In other words, you're saying she can't carry a starring role in which this is what she's supposed to be doing in this film.
She can't even carry an extras role. I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, she looks beautiful. I'm not
absolutely,
saying that.
yeah.
And I certainly
She looks
would
good
want
in the
to-
role, but at the same time, like you said, looks can only take you a certain distance. You need to be able to embody that role.
And again, I think that part of the problem is just like, it's just with everything with the audio. I think, I mean, if they had kind of just the audio, just like it feels like I'm watching two trailers in one.
Yeah.
Okay. Like especially like that whole part where she's like monologuing about like finding a man.
It's like they were trying to riff on the first Addams Family movie with Angelica Houston's take on Morticia.
Oh yeah.
And it just doesn't work in this because she's not Angelica Houston.
Again, the audio, the music, that they needed to have a score.
Yes.
A real score. I don't mind if you bring in somebody else that like can create a score. Like even if you got like, I mean, I can understand if like, Rob Zombie needed somebody else to kind of cool. I mean,
absolutely.
I think it would be great if like Rob Zombie and like Danny Elfman.
Hell yeah! I feel like that's exactly
collaborated.
who you needed for a movie like this.
That would be freaking fantastic if those two were to work on a film.
Oh hell yeah!
Together. That would be like the dream team for this project. But like, and also the other thing too is like, and I know that we're in color, but like when they showed the teaser trailer, like they released a teaser trailer, which is a recreation of the opening of the show from the season 2. And I thought that was kind of cool, and I was like, okay, this looks good.
Especially if they did it like that, they kind of did it in the old black and white. Because I mean, the Munsters themselves was an homage to the old Universal monster films. I mean, it was a project that had gone around since like 1946, where they talked about maybe having a family of monsters, which it ended up becoming the Munsters.
I mean,
which
honestly,
just happened to come around about the same time as the Addams Family, which I don't think either of them really ripped one or another off. I think it was just kind of like a coincidence.
How about like, okay, so there's somebody that actually did, and they took the Munsters trailer and they turned it black and white.
Really?
Yeah, the whole thing. And it looks better.
That says a lot, and I'm kind of wonder if he probably won't take notice. I don't know if Rob Zombie will take notice of anything like that, but still,
it's like when they did like Fury Road, they actually have when they did Fury Road, director of Fury Road actually released a version of it in black and white.
Really?
You can actually buy a version of Mad Max Fury Road in black and white, and it looks freaking fantastic. It actually holds up. And
I actually didn't mind the color version when I saw it on the screen. It had some really great parts, and even though I couldn't really understand a damn thing Tom Hardy was saying throughout the entire film, which is strange because it's like
Tom Hardy never says anything in the film.
Well, what he does say, you can't make out what he's saying because it's like you think with
he's
his
mumbling.
Well, you think it's like with the Bane role, maybe it was the mask. It's like, nope, that's just Tom Hardy mumbling away.
He's a mumbler. He's a mumbler.
But I mean, that's the thing. You mentioned about the color of the film with the Munsters, and it looks very cheap. It looks, I won't even say student film because that's an insult to student films, but it has that very. I mean, for a guy who's supposedly got a budget, I mean, it doesn't look like he's worked very much with it.
I mean, I'm looking at so I've got the Munsters trailer in color, and there's a video of it on YouTube, and I'm looking at just simple shots of the trailers side by side, and the black and white looks a whole lot of spookier and a lot more like it looks just a lot better.
Well, with B movies in the past, even though it didn't help them extensively, black and white did hide a lot of.
It hit a lot. It
hit a lot of flaws, as you would say.
Oh yeah, but like the other thing too is like with black and white, you have great contrast.
Exactly.
You know?
I mean, it's like, I think it's the reason like they chose to film movies like Doctor Strangelove in black and white. It gave it a certain mood.
Mm-hmm. I mean, oh my God, this is something that costs what, $40 million to make.
Are you kidding me?
Apparently.
The trailer does not scream $40 million. I'll tell you that much.
It doesn't even scream. This is what happens when like you go to like, when you say to yourself, when you go and get yourself a Halloween costume and you're like, hey, let's go to Spirit Halloween.
Yep.
Nah, let's go to Walmart. Nah, let's go to Dollar Tree.
Well, even Spirit of Halloween, it seems like, it's like they bought all their costumes for this film there.
Yeah, they waited for like the sale right after Halloween.
Exactly. And now we're going to make a movie.
Now we're going to make a movie.
Which, honestly, that's the way you do it. So.
Oh, my God. I really hope I'm wrong. I do,
too.
Really hope I'm wrong. I think for a second, like, here's the thing about trailers. It says trailers, they're supposed to represent the movie. They're supposed to get people interested. And
they're supposed to get people jacked up about the movie.
This does not.
No.
You just had one. Oh, look, Rob, you just had one thing to do.
Yeah.
You just had one job.
One job.
One job. It's not hard. Really, it's a trailer people are going to like. This feels like you just grabbed a bunch of scenes and threw it together. Who edited this trailer? I mean, this trailer gives like people with ADD a bad name.
A monkey could edit a better trailer with his penis. And that's the thing. It's like there hasn't really been this like split online of people debating whether, they're saying, well, I think it's good. Well, I think it's bad. Most people have seen it, just been like, oh, I don't know. It's like I found around social media, that's been like the general feeling of people who have seen the trailer for this.
Yeah. Like honestly, like it just looks really weird. It looked really weird. You know what? In fact, hold on. Can I share my screen with you? Because I actually really want to show you the black and white trailer.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
All right, hang on. I'm going to just give me 1 second.
Are you allowed screen sharing or?
I think so. Hang on.
If not,
I think what I have to do is share screen. Okay. All right. Here we go. Share. All right. Can you see my screen?
I can see your screen. I mean, already. I'm looking at this already.
This part was already black and white in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. I like the fact that was one of the things I did like is they used the old Universal Pictures logo from like the 40s and the 50s with like the toy plane flying around the toy planet.
Now watch this. See how it's black and white?
Even though the lettering in this one still, for the other movies still looks awful.
I mean,
this looks like somebody did the lettering on on some cheap photo editing program.
Yeah,
that you get free with the computer.
I mean, I don't mind the coloring in certain things, but if you're going to be consistent about it, like look at this black and white.
I mean, honestly, watching this, the trailer looks a lot better.
You can see the spider web that she's wearing a lot better.
Yeah,
it's not so distracting. See, like that's the shot where he's like got that crazy mic thing, and they got Nosferatu. Look at this. Look at the trailer. Look at this. This looks so much better. And this music. Oh my God. This music is like so stupid.
Well, even the sets look kind of cheap.
Well, I don't mind them being cheap, but I mean, like, look at that. Look, even just that. It just looks more black. It's more contrasty.
Yeah.
It fits in with the original narrative of the show.
It fits in with the original feel of the show too.
Yeah, even cheap effects look like better with the black and white there.
Honestly, it's like a completely different trailer looking at it this way.
It's completely different. And like,
why did they give Grandpa a mustache? He didn't have a mustache.
I don't know why. Like, honestly, like I prefer. Look, now it's black and white. It's all consistent.
Yeah.
It's not going from color to black and white, color to black and white, and everything else like that. It actually fits.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're gonna do it, don't switch back and forth.
And I mean, honestly, she looks good as Lily Munster, but like you said, if your acting isn't,
I'm just hoping that this is just like these are just alternative takes.
yeah,
Like, look at that. Like even this.
it does. It actually, wah wah.
I mean, there it is.
And even the lettering in this, it looks like you edited it on the the editing program that came with your Windows or Mac computer.
I know, and that's what I'm talking about. Like that was just they just flipped on, like they just took it on, put it on black and white and Premiere.
For our listeners, we were actually watching, if you could guess, we were watching the trailer for the Munsters that had been edited into black and white, and already it looks like a much more interesting picture that way. And part of me, I kind of hope he listens to some suggestions, and maybe if he's still determined to do it in color, maybe he should do it like the director of Mad Max and offer two alternatives. One in sort of the garish Spirit of Halloween color, the other in black and white as the series was originally supposed to look.
Well, I will say this. I mean, looking at the way that things are in the film community, there are people that have fan edits of movies and they change things. There are fan edits of freaking Star Wars to restore Star Wars back to the original trilogy. There are people who have added or taken away stuff from other movies to make it look good. Like there's a renegade cut of like Highlander 2 and stuff like that. I have no doubt that when this movie comes out, you're going to have fans going, nope, we're going to change this. We're going to cut that out.
Yeah.
We're going to there's a Phantom Menace cut where they literally, dubbed in different dialogue for Jar Jar.
Well, actually, a lot of the re-releases of the Doctor Who episodes on DVD and Blu-ray, the BBC has given an option where you can watch the episode the way it was originally presented, or you can watch the episode with brand new special effects, which it's like for people of the original series, it gives an option for those of you for those fans like me who prefer the campy special effects from the original series. You have that. But if you're a newer fan and you prefer the newer series and you prefer the things with like more updated special effects, you can watch that episode with new effects, and a lot of the effects on these re-releases are really good.
They did the exact same thing to Star Trek.
Yeah.
The original series. They actually upgraded to like what it would be like if they did Next Generation, effects, which I thought was pretty cool. And I have that set. But I mean, it just comes right down to I don't even know what to say anymore at this point.
I know,
honestly.
it's a weird
baffling.
feeling. It's like one of those things. I get it. I get he has a love for the Munsters, and I can understand that. I mean, it was a fun series, and I can understand this is a passion project for him, and this is something he's probably been wanting to do for a long time. But it's like the final, at least the product from what I've seen in the.
Oh, my wife is giving me coffee.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
She says hi.
She says hi. Yeah. So, as I was saying,
Is she gone yet? Is she gone yet?
No, I'm picking up the coffee, I still.
Thank you, honey.
Yeah.
So as I was mentioning, I mean, I can understand this, being a passion project. I can understand this is something he wanted to bring on screen. I can understand and it's like for certain properties, as somebody who loves certain things, you don't want people to forget about them. You don't want you want a newer generation of people to love and appreciate and enjoy, these television shows like the Munsters, like the Addams Family, as much as you do. But sometimes there's a point where you can actually sort of kill the thing you love.
Yep. Unfortunately.
And I get that from the trailer. He's trying to do something that sort of pays tribute to the original series. But if this is what the movie's going to be like, I'm like,
I mean, I'm
Yeah, I'm feeling about the same way. I mean, it's just like,
no. They also have Netflix actually has a thing for Wednesday.
yes, and there's another director. It's like I haven't been really excited. I haven't been excited for his movies since probably Sleepy Hollow, if I'm to be honest. I mean, with
Yeah.
Tim Burton, I mean, it's like his last few films, like Dark Shadows, Abraham Lincoln, Miss Peregrine, have not been good.
Yeah, they haven't. Let me show you the trailer for that. I'm actually going to screen share for that.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
But it just like feels like Tim Burton's another one who hasn't been Tim Burton for a long time.
Yeah, he's kind of lost his way a little bit. All right, you're just going to see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, now this has just been this is like 41 seconds.
Is Eva Green in it? Because it seems like Eva Green's in everything he does nowadays.
I don't know, but like you look at this, watch this. This is the music.
I can't hear the music, so
Netflix woefully presents.
she seems a little too old to be playing Wednesday, but
I think they're doing an older version.
okay. Yeah,
I
that's
think-
right, because it's almost like Wednesday at Hogwarts kind of feel to it.
Yeah. And that's 41 second. That's like a 30-second trailer right there.
Yeah, and already it catches you more than the Munsters trailer did, which was a much longer trailer.
Well, the other thing too is like the comedic again. When they did the Addams Family, and they had like Christina Ricci really brought Wednesday out. I think that it was like
I feel like she stole the movie. She was
really the whole line with like there's the Girl Scout cookies and like are they made out of real Girl Scouts?
yes.
And you're like, please.
Well, even the scene where she's electrocuting her brother and her eyes widen and she just starts smiling. It's like that was a great bit of acting. I mean, for somebody so young.
And you know what? She still had. I would love to see her actually reprise the role of Wednesday. Honestly, that would have been perfect.
Actually, the people I hear they're going to be playing Gomez and Morticia in this version of Wednesday. I forget the name of Luis Guzman and Catherine Zeta-Jones are supposed to be playing Gomez and Morticia. And honestly, I think that's a great pairing because I mean, Luis Guzman looks the way Gomez looked in the comics almost.
Yeah, I mean, Luis Guzman, he's a friggin' he's a Latin name anyway.
Yeah.
Gomez. I mean, that made perfect sense.
Exactly.
But, it was just like, it's perfect.
Oh, absolutely. I think you couldn't have picked. They definitely I think definitely the casting. When I heard that was the casting of Gomez and Morticia, I was like, brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Both really good actors. Both really fit the look and feel of those characters.
Yeah.
And that's what you want with a role is you want an actor or actress that, not only can look the character, but also, make you believe they are the character. And
apparently, Christina Ricci is actually in this as well.
I heard about that. Yeah.
But she's not Wednesday. She's somebody else. They don't have they do not have a character name for her. Wow, that would be great if she could be like like a cousin or something like that.
It's probably unless they're probably doing something like they did with the Dark Shadows movie where they had for the original cast including Jonathan Frid in a quick cameo during a party, which was kind of a nice little nod. I mean, it wasn't a great film. It wasn't a film I hated though. But as far as Tim Burton's masterworks, it's far, far, far from. The stuff he did in the 90s.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I think that, like I said, I mean, Tim Burton, he's kind of like his best time period when he was a filmmaker was like I think the 90s,
late 80s, early 90s, from like 80, like 85 when he made Pee-wee's Big Adventure to say
Edward Scissorhands. Was a good
Sleepy Hollow was a great one.
Sleepy Hollow.
I think was his best film though.
I think Ed Wood was definitely one of his best.
Ed Wood, and although it's funny, people say Nightmare Before Christmas, Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas, but he had actually very little to do with that film, except for the character designs.
I think that like Big Fish,
that was a good film. Yeah,
that was a very good film. I think that was pretty much his most personal film.
Yes,
because I think I recall. reading something about how when his father died, like
That makes sense. Yeah.
he kind of like that's kind of where a lot of that movie comes from, is from him dealing with the loss of his father. So I think that, but like, you know,
Charlie
when
and
you
the
have
Chocolate
these-
Factory. I just
oh, that was oh my God, that was LSD on
that had some decent, had okay scenes, but as a whole, it's just like you just think yourself, this could have been so much better. This could have been so much.
when you try to remake something, and I think that this especially with the Munsters.
With Roald Dahl, I think it's, you know, with books, I think it opens itself up to, even though people have a memory of the Gene Wilder thing, Gene Wilder movie. I feel like with the novels and books, you're opened up to multiple adaptations. You're not just stuck in one. Whereas even the Wizard of Oz, people have been stuck with the idea of the MGM film, where there was like a countless set of novels that I think would make a great adaptation if somebody were to take the reins of it.
I mean, if you could make a really good TV series out of that.
Oh, absolutely.
You could definitely do a TV series. You could take it and turn that into a TV series.
Right, which they kind of turned it into a miniseries back in the 90s, but
they did. That's the thing. They did it as a miniseries. They did it as a 2-part film with the new movies that came out.
Yeah.
But they really just need to. They really should have just done a Netflix TV series with that.
Absolutely.
You know, something in the level of Stranger Things. I would have said it in like 70s and then in the 90s. That's the way that you needed to make that movie.
Oh, absolutely.
That show. Even The Stand, like when they did The Stand as a TV series, you know, there are just some pieces of work that just they translate better to certain.
Absolutely. I agree. I absolutely agree. I mean,
but the other thing too is, and like, you know, the public, they're going to have like certain expectation. You know,
and I kind of wondered that with the Munsters. You know, how many people remember them? You know, besides you and I, and people who are like hardcore fans, and people who are like over the age of 40. How many people actually remember the Munsters, who were really, in a way that, you know, you'd remember, you know, Star Trek or something like that?
I mean, I think the Munsters is still in syndication.
Oh, okay.
You can still stream it, even stream it nowadays. You can still find it where it's streamed. And if you were to go to Walmart and you see like how much the box set costs, you know, it's still pretty high.
Well, I'm just thinking, if you had like a reboot movie back in the 90s, like they did with the Addams Family, would the Munsters be as more received like the Addams Family were recently with doing a couple animated movies? Because people remember the movies, the Addams Family movies from the 90s, probably more than they remember the television show from the 60s, even though the television show from the 60s is what got it started.
Totally. I think that it's, you know, the thing about it is that filmmaking in Hollywood, I mean, you know, when you have the suits, as they call them, in charge of the creative process, and like you just basically run everything through entertainment by a chart.
Right.
That's probably the biggest problem that Hollywood right now has, is that it's the remake.
I can see that,
machine.
Yeah,
it's
it is.
the Xerox machine. And yeah, I mean, if you're gonna bring something back, you better bring it. Like, you know, you better give it the best.
Bring your A
actors,
game.
Best directors, best writers. Be homage. Go ahead and create new stuff for the new
Look what happened to Dark
characters.
Shadows.
Oh my God! But like, you know, don't let like when Lucas made Star Wars, he had to have everybody in tune with what he wanted to do, and he had to compromise creatively. And so when he got to a point where he didn't have to compromise creatively, what happened?
The Phantom Menace.
The Phantom Menace, and you know, all the creepazoid weird stuff and people went to watch it because, you know, they had no other choice.
Star Wars.
It was Star Wars.
It was new Star Wars too.
It was like getting hey, it's a new sandwich at Burger King. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of how a lot of these remakes are. And like, you know, I'm sorry, but Rob Zombie, he's a good slasher director. I mean, yeah, okay, he's done some shocking stuff. You know, some of it's not exactly my taste. It's definitely, it feels more, he's more of a 70s exploitation director. You know?
Yeah.
Like if I had to pin him as to what kind of directors Rob Zombie is, he's more of a 70s exploitation director. Like I could see him remaking Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
You know, I could see him remaking Motel Hell. I could see that. You know, because that's just the kind of weird stuff that he does.
Right, absolutely.
But I can't see him doing anything comedy, family oriented. Because, again, this is supposed to be a family movie, right?
I mean, this could end up sinking, you know, Munsters the way, you know, Tim Burton sunk Dark Shadows, where you can't do like a television series or a movie series because the one film kind of sunk the idea, and everybody sort of imagines Dark Shadows being like the Tim Burton film. And if he had done it like, you know, House of Dark Shadows from the 70s and done it as either a straight horror film or done it with the feel of the original series rather than kind of having it come off jokingly, you might have had a better film. And I'm kind of wondering if, you know, the Munsters is going to suffer the same fate that Dark Shadows did.
A lot of these older franchises, and let's be perfectly honest, like you said, they are getting older and people are forgetting about them.
Oh, absolutely.
Who's going to make another Munsters movie 20 years from now?
That's a good question. Is this going to be, you know, this is going to be the one big last gasp because, you know, you got kind of hung up on this vision of yours instead of, you know, it's like when they did The Hobbit and they decided that they were going to do a trilogy. That was a horrible idea. They should have just done the one movie. They've done it as one movie.
Well, I mean, there was a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes of that.
Yeah, that's what I hear. That's what I heard. And
there's actually a really good YouTuber, Lindsay Ellis, who did a long dissertation about the reason why it turned into a trilogy, because Hollywood was like, well, we need to have 3 movies so we can make more money. And it also that particular trilogy resulted in a lot of exploitation of the people of New Zealand, especially
that's what I hear, yeah.
It was terrible.
I mean, I didn't mind the first film. The second film was okay too. The thing I hated about the second film is the fact that they covered up Benedict Cumberbatch's voice as Smaug with all this added you know, effects to it, where they should have just done it like the, you know, not a big fan of the original cartoon, but at the same time, they should have just let his own natural voice come out as the character of Smaug. That was what I was waiting for. By adding all the effects, it's like, it was sort of like when they, Julian Glover played the spider in the second Harry Potter film.
Yeah.
And they ended up covering up his voice with a lot of effects where he had like this, you know, great original voice. I mean, those who have seen, you know, Julian Glover and like Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, as well as many, many, many other great productions. You know, it's like you're just sort of covering up what could have, you know, sounded even better, you know, if they had just trusted, you know, the actor who was doing the voice rather than feeling that they needed to make the character sound more powerful. And I think I mentioned this before with the third Hobbit film. It's like, we ended up catching it when we were staying in a hotel when we went to a convention, and it was one of these things. I feel like the fight scene lasted for 2 hours because I think we turned it on and it was right at the fight scene near the end of the film, and it's like, okay, this is kind of a cool fight scene, and then like 6 hours later, it's like, when the hell is this going to end? There's like, I think the whole last half of the film was this one fight scene. I mean, yeah, I know the end of the novel, there's like a big battle that at the end of the book, there's a big battle that happens, but it's like, you know, one big Bruce Lee style fight scene just gets a little tiring after a while.
You know, it would be great if somebody just like showed up with like dressed up in a chef's outfit and go, "Get your pies, the great pie fight."
I know, or like the guy at the end of like the Sesame Street things, the chef that shows up at the end of the Sesame Street thing when they were doing the counting to like number 10, where he's like 10 coconut cream pies, and it comes falling down the steps, and that's how the movie ends.
Oh my God. Like, honestly, like, but yeah, getting back to this trailer, I don't know if I can watch this in the movie theater.
Oh, I'm definitely
not going to sit in the theater.
No.
I don't know if I could even watch it on streaming if it's this bad.
Yeah.
I'm going to wait. It's just, that's the problem. So
it's getting a buzz, but not in the right way online. People are just not, I mean, people who love the show and remember the show are just like, Yeah.
He was the wrong guy.
Yeah. And you know, we get it. I know this is something he loves, but it's just like,
Hey, I love it too.
You know, maybe you should have gotten somebody different to write it rather than, or get somebody to proofread it for you, or
that would probably be a good idea.
yeah.
You know, proofreading is a good thing. Learning how to make sure, like actually having jokes that people will laugh at in your trailer might be good.
That's one of the things Saturday Night Live never really understood, is the whole concept of rewrite. I mean, there's a great joke. What's the difference between death and what's the difference between life and Saturday Night Live? Or what's the difference between life and a Saturday Night Live skit? Life eventually comes to an end.
Like, I don't even understand it. I don't even know anymore.
No, I know. It's just like, it's like we went through last week just talking about, Stranger Things and this whole, even though they've, repurposed the 80s, they've sort of done it in a very unique way, where this just feels like a rehash.
It's totally a rehash. It feels like a very cheap cash grab, and I don't want to use that term because, like, I know Rob Zombie loves the Munsters, but like, there's enough people dumping on this trailer online. There's enough people right now basically saying, "What the fuck is this thing?" Yeah, there's just shaking their heads, going, "Who ordered this?" Like, this is what you get when you order the Munsters from Wish.com.
It's true, and I don't want to get like that. I don't want to be like everybody else online. It's like doing their little rant rage filled YouTube videos where it's like I remember watching one where this guy is just like getting angry about the new Masters of the Universe Revelation series, where he's just using the word woke every 5 to 6 seconds. It's like,
oh God,
are you kidding me? Did you watch the original He-Man and the Masters of the Universe? It was woke before woke was woke. So shut up.
It woke before you woke.
Yeah, and we loved it. I mean, it was a you want woke? This was a TV series that never used violence and had a moral at the end of every episode. How is that not woke? So shut up and enjoy your goddamn show. You fucking nerd. So I just didn't want to get like that. But it's like, in this case, it's like, I feel like, I don't know. It just doesn't look good. Even with the black and white, it looked cheap, but in the same way, it looked cheap in a way that they was sort of paying tribute to the original sitcom.
It looked fun.
It did.
It looked fun. I would see this if it was black and white all the way through. I'd be like, fuck it. I'll give my money to that. I don't care.
This feels more like a commercial that Cable Access makes to sell somebody's warehouse bed and bath store.
Come on down to the Halloween outlet. We're going out of business.
Exactly. With our little flailing, wacky foam waving guy in the front of the building.
Oh, man, I missed that store.
I do, too. So I'm kind of wondering if, like, several years ago, Rob Zombie just heard that the Halloween outlet was going out of business and took a drive to Massachusetts to buy everything out. It's like, I'm going to make my Munsters movie with this.
He bought all the loud.
Yes, and I'm sure Rob Zombie sounds like Jerry Mathers. So never. Yeah. I'm going to go to Massachusetts and buy for my Munsters movie. That sounds more like Rob Zombie.
Gonna go to the Halloween outlet.
Yeah. So again, I hope Rob Zombie doesn't try to find us and kill us
like
after
when he
this
goes
episode.
Like he gets back home, he like starts talking.
Hey, honey, what's for dinner?
Like that's his actual voice.
Well, I think that was like George Thorogood. He'd be like singing "Burn to the Bone." It's like, well, I was actually who started making this song.
So I hope you guys enjoyed us dumping on Munsters, the Munsters trailer for like the last hour. Honestly,
will it be good, or has he created a monster?
Is it a monstrosity?
Time will tell.
Was that
last pun a monstrosity?
Next Mental Suppository time, same Mental Suppository channel.
Oh gosh, unless Rob Zombie kills us in the meantime.
Yeah, he'll hunt us down.
Yeah.
Like, hey, guys are going to be in my next movie.
Although, actually, I have to bring this up. It's one of these things I think is a good part about Rob Zombie's personality and character. Some uber nerd metal guy was like really shitting on the band Baby Metal, who was this fantastic Japanese.
They're cool. They're awesome.
They are fantastic. Their music is. If you haven't listened to their music online, please do. I think they're a duo now, but at the time they were a trio of these these three young Japanese girls who are just singing this like really fantastic pop sounding metal music, and it's just awesome to listen to. I mean, as a music fan or anything, but there's one old nerd,
And they've been doing this for years. They like get dressed. They're like Japanese. They're like in sailor suits or schoolgirl suits or whatever, and they're just like ripping.
And their music videos are awesome for them.
Their music videos are like the freaking shit. They are honestly like, it's like Japanese like anime cosplayers, but like they're playing like on the level of like Metallica and Megadeth,
absolutely,
Iron Maiden.
And so online there was this one nerd who's just like shitting on them on some message board, and apparently Rob Zombie chimed in and says, "They're more metal than you."
Dude, I honestly, like, those girls could kick somebody's ass.
And I guess the guy wouldn't stop, and he just says, he goes, and I think Rob Zombie says something like that. He goes, "Okay, 40-year-old guy typing this in your parents' basement." I was like, "Oh, good for you, Rob." I mean, it's like one of those things. He wasn't going to put up with some jerk bullying these young women who are just making really fun music.
Another cool episode we should think about doing is movies and TV shows based on music.
That's not actually a bad idea.
Well, like you can bring up like all kinds of different shows that kind of like revolve around like either a fake band or a real band.
Oh, Eddie and the Cruisers.
Yeah, perfect example. Or Josie and the Pussycats.
That's very good. Oh, Jamie's favorite movie.
Dude, that movie fucking rocks.
Oh yeah.
They actually have tabs for their songs.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, they actually found a tablature book of Josie and the Pussycats. I don't know where it is. It's probably buried or thrown away somewhere. But you can probably find like all the tabs for the music in that movie. It's ridiculous.
So watch this space, people.
Yes.
For future episodes. On behalf of Andrew, thank you for listening to the Mental Suppository. Until next week, this is Brett Hurls saying,
"Greetings from Transylvania." That's a strange way of saying hello.
Oh, I guess we're gonna have to get used to it.
The Mental Suppository has been produced by Brett Herholtz and Jamie Billings and distributed by M the Media Project. Theme music generously donated by Mr. B, the Gentleman Rhymer. Visit his webpage at gentlemanrhymer.com. We would love to hear from our fans. Email us at mentalsuppository@gmail.com.
I'll whip you up a hubby, honey.
Please don't kill us, Rob Zombie. Please don't kill us.
Yeah.